Good afternoon, everybody. It's New Jersey Garden, and I wanted to do an update on my seed starting trays and finish explaining how I have this all set up in my basement. It is the very end of March. It's March 31st. And I started my seedlings a week ago in these seed starting trays. And what I wanted to show everyone was the covers are just these plastic covers. And they're like little greenhouses here. Just dome plastic coverings. I just leave these on, and every day I come down and check on the seedlings and just make sure everything looks hydrated. I have noticed with the new seed trays that I bought this year, the hexagonal shaped ones, that they are drying out a little bit, so I've been taking a spray bottle and occasionally going in and spraying just those cells where they look a little bit dry. And I'll show you that in a second when I take off the covers. But as you can see, the lights are pretty close to the the covers here, because initially the seedlings need a lot of light. Without a lot of light, they're going to the seedlings will get really leggy. They'll just get like tall and skinny, and we want these to have like strong roots and not be so leggy. So as the seedlings get bigger, I do elevate these lights. Every week or so I elevate them a tiny bit. So I'm going to take off the coverings and show you the progression of the seedlings in 1 second. And I also just want to show you that these are all in a timer. So the timer's right here. They're actually just getting 12 hours of light a day. You can go up to 16 hours of light. I just haven't found that necessary. A lot of people will set their timers for between 14 and 16 hours of light a day. But I keep my lights really close to the seedlings and elevate them, as I said, so I don't feel like I need more than 12 hours of light a day. Right now, at the end of March in New Jersey, it's pretty cold still. It's barely reaching 50 degrees outside, and there's really not naturally that much light outside yet. The sun rises around 6:30 in the morning and then sets around 7 o'clock at night. So in nature, we're only getting about 12 hours of sunlight right now. So it's a little dark here to see this, but this is the Jiffy natural and organic seed starting mix that I used. And I'm going to pause the video now and just show you what everything looks like now with the covers off. Okay, so this first tray here has Gaillardia, which is also known as blanket flower, and yarrow. I have two different types of Gaillardia that I started from seed last week, and then two types of yarrow. The Arizona Sun Gaillardia, the Chokager Gaillardia, and then Summerberries yarrow and Flower Burst Red Shades yarrow. I've grown 3 of these varieties, both varieties of yarrow before, as well as I believe the Arizona Sun blanket flower before. So this is a new one for me this year. But I really love both blanket flower and yarrow because they can tolerate a lot of drought conditions, and they bloom a long time, and they're deer resistant. So here is what everything looks like. And as I was saying, some of these hexagonal trays sort of seem like they are drying out a little bit. So I may spritz, just a little bit of fine mist over some of these cells just to keep everything moist. My other seed trays didn't dry out like this, so I'm not sure yet if I really like this particular seed starting tray. This is a new one for me this year. I believe it's made by Jiffy. The tray cover says Jiffy, and then on the package it said Ferry Morse. So I think Jiffy makes them for Ferry Morse maybe now. But anyway, this is what the seedlings look like after only just 1 week. And I did try to put, a couple, 2 to 3 seeds in each tray, just in case germination rates weren't high. I just like to have a few seedlings growing in each tray, and I may need to separate them out as they grow. But right now I don't need to thin anything out. And I'll just take off the additional tray covers to show you everything that's growing. I mark them all with little wooden, you can use popsicle sticks, or they actually sell these little markers at Lowe's or Home Depot, so you can mark your flowers, and so you know what's what. Now this is laceflower, and veronica that I have in here, and there's one other thing I have in here. I think it's statice. So this tall, the one in the front here is actually statice, which is an annual flower that I'm trying this year for the first time. And in the back, that's the laceflower. And the veronica is like little tiny seedlings that are right here. I'm really excited for veronica. It's a perennial. It's also known as speedwell. It's spike speedwell. And those are starting out right there on the left side. So this is just after 1 week. I have a lot of growth after 1 week for all these seedlings. And as I said, it's great. You don't have to water these at all. Just leave the covers on. Okay, here's another one. This is, I planted goldenrod, like a non-spreading version of goldenrod, and I hope they come up. That's way in the back, and they haven't popped up yet. This tray, by the way, has a little bit of green. I'll explain why in a minute, but there's a little bit of green, like, it looks like moss or sort of like moss formation, and I'll explain that in a minute. But we have strawflower growing here, and what else? Calendula. Calendula and strawflower are both new for me this year. The calendula is right in the front there, growing pretty fast, and then the strawflower is all in the middle of the seed starting tray. Now, what happened with this particular tray is I started this like 2 weeks ago. I just I put the seed starting mix in, I put water into the little, all the inserts, and then I didn't get a chance to plant that week, and it was very cold in the basement, and so there was a little bit of extra moisture that developed in the seed trays, and I decided to go ahead and take a chance and still just plant my seeds last weekend into this tray. So there's extra dampness. It doesn't seem to be affecting the seedlings right now, but it's not ideal to have this level of moisture. So I may just leave this cover off for a few hours just to kind of dry out the tray a little bit. You don't want to have too much moisture, or you can kill off your seedlings, like if they get moldy. So I'm going to leave this cover off just for a few more hours today. And then the last one that I had planted last weekend is I have Gloriosa daisy, which is a perennial. I'm hoping it's deer resistant. I'll have to find out if it is or not, but I found some extra seeds in the basement that I had purchased like 3 years ago that I forgot about. And then there's more statice, which is an annual. So the statice is in the back. Sorry for the noise here. And then the Gloriosa daisy is all in the front, and I kind of overdid it when I put the seeds in the seed tray. I just didn't know if the germination rate would be okay because they were like 4 years old. But it looks like they germinated very well. And in general, I would say the germination rate of all these, seedlings has been really high, except for the goldenrod. Everything I would say has like maybe 90% germination rate so far. And we'll see going forward, which ones continue to do well. So I'm going to put this one back on. I will do some more planting with additional trays in the next couple weeks. I want to plant some anise, which is like an herb, bells of Ireland. I'll show you the seed packets down here. Bells of Ireland. I would like to plant some bachelor button outdoors directly in the next week or so. We just had our snow melt, by the way. We had like three or four snowstorms in March, and up until yesterday we actually had like 4 inches of snow on the ground, and it's finally melting. So when I'm sure that the risk of snow is gone, I will probably plant the bachelor's button outside. It can handle a little bit of frost. It's considered it's an annual, but it's a hardy annual. And then Dusty Miller, which is an annual, I'd like to plant that indoors as well. And then I have a whole bunch of zinnia and sunflower seeds that I had purchased this year. I kind of bought a lot of extra flower seeds this year because I have not done a lot of seed starting in like 3 years. So I kind of went overboard with the seeds. But I really want to try this year to grow some flowers and see if I can make bouquets and try to sell them at the local farmers markets, or just to learn how to make bouquets and just work a little more with annual flowers. So I bought a little extra seeds this year for that. And if anybody has questions, please feel free to contact me at newjerseygarden@gmail.com. And I'm happy to, go over any tricks or tips that I've learned over the years with the seed starting. It doesn't always go as you plan. Sometimes you have some failures, but there's a lot of joy that comes out of starting flowers from seed, I think. And I think it's worth trying. And it's really easy to do, and it's very economical. So I encourage anybody to start growing from seed. It's not too late. It's, like I said, it's March 31st, and I just started last week. And these will be ready to probably plant outside by mid-May, which is perfect timing because we do get some frost in early May, and we get a lot of heavy winds. And all of these seedlings, once they are ready to go outside, you have to harden them off, which means you bring them outside gradually, like on a non-windy, cloudy day, to get them used to the sunlight, because these are just growing with lights and no real sunlight, and they are going to be in for a shock when you bring them outside for the first time. So I'll show you the whole process. And in the next few weeks, I'll also be showing you what's been popping up in the garden. Nothing has bloomed yet, but we will have, lilac and some daffodils and hyacinth popping up in the next couple of weeks. So I'll show you guys what's been growing outside. And I'm excited to do some more videos showing, my seed starting trays, and I will show more detail in the coming weeks. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to all my subscribers.